Hey guys! First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all of your comments and some of your video suggestions on my first video. I definitely enjoyed filming that video for you and showing you some of my houseplants. I thought about it and I figured what better video to make than a video for beginners. I know that when I got my first few houseplants, I was very nervous in a way. I didn't know what these kind of plants were. I didn't know how to take care of them, and that's when my Pinteresting and my researching began. Over time, I've learned a few tips and tricks for beginners, especially on how to maintain houseplants, how to keep them, and how to not get a black thumb. I have not had the best luck. One of my very first houseplants was a palm tree. I was so excited. It looked so great in the corner of my living room, and then it died. I don't know if it was a mixture of me not knowing what I was doing because I've never owned a palm tree. I don't know if it was because I wasn't giving it enough light. I don't know. But the one thing you have to remember is that all houseplants are different. Some are easier to take care of than others. Some are more difficult. Some of them require more maintenance and attention. But with these 5 tips that I'm about to share with you all, I am so confident that you will be able to keep a houseplant alive. So here we go. Tip number 1, study your home before purchasing any houseplant. You want to make sure that you give your houseplant the attention it needs. So if you purchase a houseplant that needs bright indirect light all day, but you don't have a spot for it, you're not going to want to buy that plant. Definitely buy a houseplant that suits your home. I will say I'm a little blessed with my lighting situation at my house. My living room gets beautiful bright light during the day. But if my living room did not get that much bright light, I probably wouldn't have the type of houseplants that I have. Some houseplants don't require a lot of light. I will make a video solely dedicated to houseplants that don't need a lot of light, because I know that there's a lot of you out there who don't have as many windows as you'd hope, so stay tuned for that. Off the top of my head, snake plants, sansevierias don't need a lot of light. Pothos plants don't need a lot of light. So if you are in that situation, definitely think about those. And if you're unsure, just look at the tag that comes with your houseplant. It will tell you what kind of lighting the plant needs. Tip number 2. This one kind of goes with tip number 1, and that is every houseplant is different. Some houseplants are going to need watering every other day. Some houseplants are going to need water once a week. Do your research, read the tag that comes with your plant, or do some research online, and you'll be perfectly fine. I probably water my ferns every other day. My sansevierias I water once a week, or maybe even every week and a half, depending on how their soil is. There are some plants that need a lot more watering than others. And again, to go along with tip number 1, some plants will need a lot of light. Some plants can do with very low light situations. My peace lily can go either way. It loves the light, but it can also survive with no light at all. My sansevierias can do with no light at all. I have a sansevieria in my guest bathroom. That guest bathroom has no windows whatsoever, and it's doing perfectly fine. So again, every houseplant is different, so make sure you do your research. Tip number 3, get a pot with drainage. You may have heard the saying that plants don't like wet feet, and that's true. If you let your plants sit in water with no drainage outlet, it's just gonna rot the roots and it's gonna kill your plant eventually, which is not a good thing. You don't want that to happen. So make sure you get a pot with a drainage hole at the bottom, and even better if you can get a matching saucer with it, or even if you just put a tray under it so that it catches the water. When the water fills up the saucer or the tray, make sure you dump the excess water into the sink so the plant isn't sitting in water. And I know we come across the prettiest pot that would look so great with your plant, but it doesn't have a drainage hole. Now, if you're like me and you're not amazing and talented with power tools, all you gotta do, keep the plant in that plastic pot. This pot is probably what the plant came in when you bought it at the store. They also sell these pots at any home improvement stores. Simply put the plastic pot in the decorative pot. What I do is I take the plastic pot out of the decorative pot, bring it to the sink, water it, let the water drain, and then put it back in the decorative pot. Easy. Tip number 4, do not overwater. If anyone asks me what my biggest tip of houseplants is, it is not overwatering your plant. I only water when the soil feels pretty much dry to the touch. It can be a little bit moist, but you want it to be somewhat dry. And then when I water, I don't drench it. I just give it enough to drink, if that makes sense. Water it enough to make the soil moist. Now, like I said, there are some houseplants out there, especially like the ferns, who love to stay moist. So I've noticed that ferns, especially in the summertime, like their soil moist at all times. If any houseplant gets the most water in my house, it's my fern. So all these tips kind of tie together. Just make sure you figure out what watering schedule is best for your plants and you'll be perfectly fine. Tip number 5 is start with easy plants. I know a lot of us out there get so excited when they see the prettiest plant and they just want to go in and get it. That's kind of how I felt when I bought my palm tree that died on me. It looked beautiful. I couldn't wait to get it home, but I wish I did a little bit of Google searching at the store before I bought it to make sure that it was going to last in my home. So basically, start with an easy plant. My very, very first house plant, which is still doing amazing, was my snake plant. It's the easiest plant to take care of, and to this day I swear by snake plants because they're so easy. You can forget to water them by a week or so and they'll still be perfectly fine. Start with the easy ones and work your way up. Once you're able to maintain the easy houseplants, then you can work your way up into some more advanced ones. So that's it, guys. Those are my 5 beginner tips for being a home gardener. Let me know how you guys do with your houseplants, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.